let's look at some advanced uses of functions in JavaScript. So these are the different things we're going to look at: how to assign a function to a variable, how to pass a function to a function, and also how to return a function from a function. Fairly advanced features. And these are the different pieces of code we're going to look at. So what we know so far is this is a typical way to make a function. No problem at all. Everything works fine. Function, name of the function, have some code inside it. No problem. That's very typical. You can also do one of these. You can actually say, make a function, but you assign it to a variable name. Okay? Make a function, as usual, assign it to a variable. If you like, you can actually have the name of the function as well, but you don't have to. This one hasn't even written the name of a function, but you could write the name if you like. That function is assigned to this variable, and you write all your code as usual inside the braces. So you could do that. We're giving a function to a variable, and that function is declared when the browser gets to this point in the code. It may not get to this point at the start when the web page is loaded. It may get to this point, like for example, it may run a function with this inside it later, possibly 5 minutes after the web page has loaded. That is a difference to this one here. This one is created when the web page is loaded. These are ways to make a function which are not straight away when the web page is loaded, but it could be later. So there's some subtle differences. Okay, what else could we do? We could pass a function to a function. In JavaScript, a function is just an object, and you can pass that to a function. Let's see an example. So the idea of this is to check a operation. So here's one line of code. Result is my divide. And then we are passing a function, check. Okay, that is passed to the division. It's just an example of passing a function here to a function. Now, the general idea of this is if you divide a number by 0, you'll get an error. Okay, you cannot divide a number by 0, any number. So the simple idea here is we write a function, but we also include a checking function. We pass the checking function to that function. And then it uses that checking function to check if we can do a division. And we can do a division if the second number is not 0. All right, so that function is actually here, check. All it does is it simply checks if the second number is not 0, then return true. We can do division, otherwise return false. So there's a function. We are passing that function, check, goes to this function. And we're giving it a different name, fn. And so now we can use that function, give it 2 numbers, which is the same 2 numbers. Can we do divide 44 divided by 1? Let's try that out, 44 divided by 1. And that is given to the checking function, which returns true. So we get a message, it's okay, we can divide 44 by 1, no problem at all. And so we get the answer coming back from my division, okay? Otherwise, that checking function has said, not okay, we have a problem, the second number is 0. Okay, now it's a bit of a kind of unusual example, a bit weird, but it's just illustrating a real example, passing a function to another function and then using that function. All right, what else could we do? We could return a function from a function. All right, so let's look at an example of that. So here's our main code, and we've said there's our function called counter. And we could go and we could run that function here and it does something and it returns, it doesn't return a number, it doesn't return text, a string, it returns a function right there. That function comes back and is stored in the variable count. Okay, so we ran a function up here. What did it do? Nothing very clever, but it returned a function in the variable. All right, now we could use the name of that variable and we could run that function once, twice, 3 times, and each time it will just add a number and it will show 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that is an example of a function being returned from a function and then being used. Let's run this example. There we are, we get 1 and then 2, that's the second time we ran the function which is stored in the variable, and then 3, that's the third time we ran the function stored in the variable, and then we finished. That's the end of our quick discussion of some advanced things you can do with functions in JavaScript.